Good morning. My name is William Watkins, Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students, and it's my honor to declare the opening of the California State University Northridge commencement ceremony for the Colleges of Engineering and Computer Science and the College of Science and Mathematics. I ask that you all now please rise and remain standing while the CSUN Jazz A-Band, under the direction of Professor Michael Mull, plays the national anthem, accompanied by Christy Yoga.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, and be seated. How about another hand for our vocalist, Christy Yoga? She's performed at each and every one of our celebrations here. Celebrating this occasion with us this morning and seated on the platform are members of the President's Extended Cabinet. Also, for the College of Engineering and Computer Science, we have Dean S.K. Ramesh, Associate Dean Robert Ryan, and Department Chairs Rick Covington from Computer Science, Nazret Dermidjian from Civil Engineering and Construction Management, George Law, Electrical and Computer Engineering, Hamid Johari from Mechanical Engineering, and Ahmad Safaraz from Manufacturing Systems, Engineering, and Management. And for the College of Science and Mathematics, we have Dean Jerry Stinner, Special Assistant to the Dean, Robert Espinoza and David Gray, and Department Chairs for Biology, we have Larry Allen, Eric Kelson for Chemistry and Biochemistry, Kathy Marsaglia for Geological Sciences, Rabia Jaluli for Mathematics, and Sei-Ping Lim for Physics and Astronomy. Yeah, they're here. In addition, CSU trustee Stephen Stepanek, faculty president Adam Swinson, Associated Students President Savag Alexanian, and alumnus Dan Wilt will join us as special guests on the platform today. Will all the members of the platform party please rise and be recognized? Thank you. And it's my pleasure now, for the last time during our commencement celebrations for this 2016-17 year, to introduce to you all our president, Dr. Diane Harrison.
Thank you, Vice President Watkins, and good morning, everyone. As president of this university, it is my distinct honor to welcome you to the 2017 California State University Northridge commencement ceremony for the 2016 and 17 graduates of the College of Engineering and Computer Science and the College of Science and Mathematics. On behalf of our distinguished faculty and staff, I congratulate all of the graduates being honored here this morning. That's a little timid. We'll do better shortly. As I stood here on the steps of the Oviatt just 1 year ago, it seems as if we lived in a different world. While the landscape across the country has shifted, each of you has demonstrated great perseverance to achieve your goals. By persevering, you have seen what you're capable of, but it is only the beginning. Your ability to persevere and the self-confidence that it fosters will help you achieve your dreams and make a difference in the world. To promote positive change on issues of importance to you, use the skills you have learned at CSUN. Whether those skills are in creative thinking, critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, or empathy and compassion, including appreciating and respecting each other's perspectives and advocating for social justice. And remember, you graduate with the advantage of a CSUN education. Last month, we honored 3 alumni, each distinguished in their own field, who serve as just 3 powerful examples of the value of a CSUN degree and the impact it can have across diverse industries and sectors, shaping the region, California, the nation, and even beyond. One of these distinguished alumni was a trailblazer in reality television. Another was an influential financial wizard on Wall Street. And the third was a female engineer who now works in the aerospace industry, where outer space is literally her territory. And these are just 3 examples of the literally thousands that show the many paths and doors of opportunity available to you with a CSUN education. You have the knowledge and the ability to succeed. And some of you may also choose to forge completely new paths in territories or disciplines or industries yet to be imagined and explored. CSUN graduates touch every sector, every industry, every field, and have made a significant mark on the world. Each of you here this morning has the potential to make a difference. Regardless of your path, as you move on to new opportunities, please promote greater inclusivity in your communities as you did at CSUN. Stand against discrimination and value and respect diversity and the common humanities shared by us all. Protect our environment and our natural resources. Appreciate science and discovery. Continue to use the knowledge gained here to support tolerance and strive to understand others' views. Our shared future depends on it, and your education at CSUN has equipped you for these tasks. Allow me now to thank our faculty and staff who are here today to share in the pride of your achievements. CSUN's faculty and staff have played a significant role in supporting your success, both in and out of the classroom, and their efforts to advance student excellence, our understanding of the world through groundbreaking research, and the university's mission make them the heart of our university. Much of your experience at CSUN has been shaped by the generosity of those who came before you, by alumni who have supported scholarships, enhanced programs, and improved the facilities in which you learned each day. This year, it was gratifying to learn that more than 6,000 of our graduates and counting proudly followed their example by contributing to the senior class gift. And we thank you for that. And finally, I want to acknowledge the incredible contributions of your families and friends, many of whom are joining with you today in celebration. To the parents, brothers, sisters, families, friends, and loved ones, the university community and I thank you for entrusting your CSUN graduate to us. We are privileged to have them as part of the CSUN family. Our graduates could not have succeeded without your guidance, your love, your sacrifice, and encouragement. We are proud to salute you and ask that you now stand for a well-deserved round of applause. Would all of our families and friends and supporters please stand? And now, if our families and friends would please join me in congratulating our 2016-17 graduates. The College of Engineering and Computer Science and the College of Science and Mathematics would like to give special recognition to those students who have demonstrated outstanding scholarship while at the university. These students may be identified by the honors medallions, the cords, and the sashes they are wearing. Will those students who are graduating with academic honors please rise and let us give you our applause. Thank you. Please be seated. I would also like to recognize our baccalaureate students who have successfully completed their degree in 4 years if they started as a freshman, or 2 years if they transferred to CSUN. These are our Matador Rising Scholars, and we are proud of your efforts and commend you on your achievement. Will our Matador Rising Scholar students please stand and receive our applause? Thank you. And let me remind all of us that every single one of our graduates here today, whether they are honor students, Matador Rising Scholars, those who are graduating no matter how long it took, or what your GPA was, it was good enough to get you here today. And each and every one of you have achieved a life-altering milestone. Your families are proud, we are proud, and you should be proud as well. Congratulations. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. S.K. Ramesh, Dean of the College of Engineering and Computer Science, and Dr. Jerry Stenner, Dean of the College of Science and Mathematics, to the podium to highlight 4 students who are deserving of additional recognition and who serve as examples of the excellence and extraordinary achievement that can be found among CSUN's accomplished student body.
Thank you, President Harrison. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to present to you today an extraordinary student who deserves additional recognition from the College of Engineering and Computer Science. Please rise when I call your name and stay standing while I speak briefly about your accomplishments. Eric Figueroa. Eric Figueroa has overcome significant challenges on his way to completing a Bachelor of Science degree in mechanical engineering. Eric is the son of Salvadoran immigrants and was involved in a life-changing accident very early in his career. However, he did not let adversity deter him. After recovering, his perspective on life changed, and he was driven to leave a positive mark on this world. He received a grade of A in every single course that he took at CSUN after his accident, and has earned an overall GPA of 3.97. Eric also joined the Human-Powered Vehicle Capstone Design Project in his senior year. Under his leadership, this team was able to design and fabricate a vehicle that took first place at the American Society of Mechanical Engineers Human-Powered Vehicle Competition last year. This was the first time that a CSUN team was able to capture this national collegiate title, and ladies and gentlemen, we just repeated this year as a two-time defending champion. The automatic braking system in the vehicle was a special safety innovation in the project that helped them secure the top spot. In his senior year, Eric interned at Boston Scientific Corporation's Neuromodulation Division, and since graduation, Eric has been working at AeroVironment in Simi Valley as a product engineer. He is also being recognized today as the Outstanding Graduating Scholar from the College of Engineering and Computer Science for the 2016-17 academic year. Please join me in congratulating Eric Figueroa. Congratulations. Dean Stinner.
Thank you, Dean Ramesh. It is now my honor, on behalf of the College of Science and Mathematics, to present 3 outstanding students. Students, please rise when I call your name and stay standing while I speak briefly about your accomplishments. First, I wish to recognize Tanya Gazarian as the 2017 Dean Scholar for the College of Science and Mathematics. Tanya earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in biology last fall with the remarkable 3.95 GPA. She even topped the scores of graduate students in some of her courses. But during her time at CSUN, she did much more than earn good grades. Tanya served as a peer learning facilitator for chemistry students, held leadership positions in the Chemistry and Biochemistry Club, and conducted research in the lab of Dr. Ray Hong. She was also active in her community through her volunteer work for the CSUN Dream Center and the Glendale Adventist Medical Center. The superlatives used to describe her by her mentors include, and here's where I'm going to embarrass her, she's bright, honest, polite, humble, insightful, persistent, a team player, and an excellent communicator. I wish I had some faculty like that. Sorry, no. Just seeing if you're awake. As a daughter of Iranian immigrants and a first-generation college graduate, her life was transformed when close family members became hospitalized, which led to her passion for medicine. Tanya is currently preparing for her MCAT exam and applying to medical school. We are confident her exceptional academic record and her caring and professional demeanor will translate into an outstanding career as a physician. Congratulations, Tanya, on all of your achievements. The College of Science and Mathematics would like to recognize 2 graduate students, Maria Akopian and Malakia Hoover, who are the co-awardees of the Mac I. Johnson Memorial Research Award for Outstanding Graduate Student. This annual award honors the legacy of Dr. Mac Johnson, former Associate Vice President of Graduate Studies, Research, and International Programs. It is awarded to a graduate student who has excelled in academic achievements, conducted substantial research, and has also been accepted into a PhD program in sciences or mathematics. Our first co-awardee, Maria Akopian, achieved all of these accomplishments and much more. Maria is a graduate student in biology who has worked extensively in Dr. Jeannie Robertson's lab, where she studied the behavior and genetics underlying, catch this, color variation in red-eyed tree frogs from Costa Rica. I want to hear some cheers. All right? I studied green frogs, Rana Verde, in Argentina, so there. Maria has been the recipient of scholarships, fellowships, and research funding totaling approximately $60,000, delivered numerous presentations at professional meetings, and taken on substantial leadership roles in scientific community outreach efforts. Remarkably, she achieved these successes while serving as a teaching associate, offering bioinformatics workshops for both peers and also for professors, conducting her own thesis and other collaborative research, and earning a perfect GPA of 4.0. Her accomplishments have paid dividends with a recent offer to join several fully funded PhD programs at top universities. Among these, Maria selected the Ecology and Evolutionary Biology PhD program at Cornell University. Cornell University offered her a 5-year tuition waiver and generous research support. As Maria's thesis advisor notes, she is passionate, an emerging intellectual and academic leader in her field. In addition to the Mac Johnson Award, Maria was named the university's Outstanding Graduate Student Award recipient at this year's honor convocation. Congratulations, Maria, and keep up the red-eyed tree frog studies. The second co-awardee of the Mac I. Johnson Memorial Research Award is Malakia Hoover. Malakia is also a graduate student in biology, and her advisor is Dr. Jonathan Kelber. Malakia started conducting research in Dr. Kelber's lab as an undergraduate, and during her 5-year tenure, Malakia made substantial contributions to the lab's research efforts with a particular focus on the genes involved in cancer progression. Her accomplishments include numerous scholarships and honors, delivering award-winning presentations at international conferences, and co-authoring several peer-reviewed publications. These achievements are all the more impressive given the personal challenges and significant socioeconomic hurdles Malakia has overcome just to attend college. Fortunately, all of her hard work paid off. Malakia has had the rare opportunity to decline offers to join fully funded PhD programs at several top-tier research universities. And these top-tier research universities include Yale, Notre Dame, UC Davis, and University of California at Irvine. She chose instead to accept an offer from Stanford University. Not bad, not bad. Where she was one of only 4 of approximately 400 applicants to receive admission and full funding at what her advisor, Dr. Kelber, considers to be the best stem cell training program in the world. As her, yes, quite an accomplishment. As Dr. Kelber states, Malakia continually exudes determination and dedication to her research, mentoring, teaching, and coursework responsibilities. She is truly a model of CSUN's very best. Congratulations, Malakia. The CSUN campus community, and especially the College of Science and Mathematics, are extremely proud of this year's Mac I. Johnson Award winners and wish Maria and Malakia all the success they deserve for their futures. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. E. Lee, our provost, who will now present the candidates for the master's degree.
Thank you, President Harrison. Will all candidates for the Master of Science degree please rise? Yes, that's you. President Harrison, from the College of Engineering and Computer Science, I present the candidates for Computer Engineering, Computer Science, Electric Engineering, Engineering Management. Now you're awake. Manufacturing Systems Engineering, Materials Engineering, Mechanical Engineering, Software Engineering, and Structural Engineering. And from the College of Science and Mathematics, I present the candidates for Biochemistry, Biology, Chemistry, Geology, Mathematics, and Physics. These candidates have completed the requirements for the master's degree as prescribed by the state of California and the trustees of the California State University. And they have been recommended by the faculty of the California State University, Northridge. Candidates, please continue standing as President Harrison conferred the master's degree upon you.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty of California State University, Northridge, and by the power vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Science in Biochemistry, Master of Science in Biology, Master of Science in Chemistry, Master of Science in Computer Engineering, Master of Science in Computer Science, Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, Master of Science in Engineering Management, Master of Science in Geology, Master of Science in Manufacturing Systems Engineering, Master of Science in Materials Engineering, Master of Science in Mathematics, Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering, Master of Science in Physics, Master of Science in Software Engineering, and Master of Science in Structural Engineering, with all of the rights, honors, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations, and please be seated. At this time, I will ask Dean Ramesh and Dean Stenner to present their candidates for the baccalaureate degrees.
Thank you, President Harrison. There are 9 disciplines represented by the graduates from the College of Engineering and Computer Science today. They are from the departments of Civil Engineering and Construction Management, Computer Science, Electrical and Computer Engineering, Mechanical Engineering, and Manufacturing Systems Engineering and Management.
There are 5 disciplines represented by the graduates from the College of Science and Mathematics today. They are from the departments of Biology, Chemistry and Biochemistry, Geological Sciences, Mathematics, and Physics and Astronomy. Will all the candidates for the baccalaureate degree please rise and remain standing? Okay, that's enough. President Harrison. President Harrison, I have the honor of presenting to you the undergraduate class of 2017.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty of California State University, Northridge, and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Biology, Bachelor of Arts in Chemistry, Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics, Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry, Bachelor of Science in Biology, Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering, Bachelor of Science in Computer Information Technology, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Bachelor of Science in Construction Management, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering, Bachelor of Science in Engineering Management, Bachelor of Science in Geology, Bachelor of Science in Honors in Physics, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, Bachelor of Science in Manufacturing Systems Engineering, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, and the Bachelor of Science in Physics, with all of the rights, the honors, and the opportunities pertaining thereto. Please be seated.
Thank you, President Harrison. Members of the Platform Party and the department chairs will now offer congratulations to our degree recipients. I ask that the degree recipients please move to the platform as directed by the marshals. Please come forward as your name is read. You will be congratulated by a member of the Platform Party and receive your diploma cover and certificate. Afterwards, please return to your seats as directed by the marshals, commencement staff, and ushers.
We ask that guests please help so that we may proceed in an orderly manner. We remind you that the aisles must be kept open and you are asked to stay in your seats until the end of the ceremony. Out of respect for our graduates and the safety of our guests, noisemakers are not permitted. Finally, and again out of respect for your fellow graduates, all graduates will remain throughout the entire ceremony until all degree recipients have been recognized. Thank you.
From the College of Engineering and Computer Science, now reading names for the Department of Civil Engineering and Construction Management. Ryan Bunyan, Kevin Arukan, Michelle Glidden, Alex Daniel Aguilera, Andrea Nicole Zuleta, Christian Daniel, Justin Ramirez, Sylvia Dimdis, Megri Dimijadarian, Talpar Gasparian, Dahlia Hannah, Stephanie Michelle Medina, Arsalan Adopti, Masha Sassani, Suleiman Alabudi, Liliana Pagosian, Sarah Schaub, Eric Clark, Alexandria Udarbe, Rosie Oriana, Estefany Varela, Joshua Felton, Manuel Ramirez. Bradley Ackert. Rivera Jose. Matthew Gerdes. Eugene Serrano. Julian Honore. Julio Valdez. Kenza Snoozy. Fatima Alhamar. Garrett Lang. Andrew Slusser. George Navarro. Antoinette Babone. Luis Molina. Harmick Nassarians. Emil Capellian. Frank Chavarin. Oshman Charco. Ahmed Guerrero. Clarice Rivera. Mark Galang. Derek Abania. Joseph de Guzman. Leo Dio. Fernando Guzman. Jason St. Pierre. Ustav Kachevia. Afnan Dashti. Waid Farah Barakat. Colin Laredo. Samuel Gonzalez. Daniel Garcia. Gabriel Robles. Jose Sagun. Preston San. Ryan Ramirez. Sarkis Harabidian. Rustin Tavidian. Jameson Ramos. Kyle Kovacs. Jacob Chesla. Osvaldo Arambula. Brian Perez. Jeremias Morales. Jorge Macias. James Reyes. Brian Alexander Montalban. Andrew Legaly. Lawrence Bezanover. Morteza Hosenpour. Layla Alcaraz. Noor Arab. Miz Alogab. Noor Haydar. Yosef Al-Mansuri. Abdulrahman Almanba. Mashari Al-Madian. Mishari Al-Shahab. Begi Miangwarsiran. John Roach. Sahara Amsolik. Ala Babahani. Sokian Jir. Jose Rubio. Alfred Ramirez. Prabesh Sharma. Amir Dene.
Now reading names from the Department of Computer Science. Donovan Rosas.
Makitarian.
Manvel Makatarian. Mina Lamy.
Nalbandian.
Rafi Nabandian. Vahan Tokadjan. Ramin Jacobson. Daniel Delanian. Eric Tapia. Borbhad Alizadeh. Kalfa Salem Hadi Al-Mansouri. Armin Sexensian. Ali Mojarad. Hazim Rikab. Francis Herrera. Christopher Bass. Mikel Alberto Mendoza. Carlos Hernandez. Selena Agamalian. Michael Yukana. Armanek Marsmanian. Anthony Ricciardo. Yul Pierre Puma. Fajar Aliban. Jose Luis Perez. Maruf Haq. Mohammed Arshad. Imran Paswal. Zubair Ahmed. Kyung Yu. Vrez Gulyan. Patrick Rafael Dizon Perez. Gerardo Rodriguez. Kevin Bakhtitar. Brian Wong. Lisa Milan Antoinette Smith. Brandon Gutierrez. Mary Akila Elam. Zachary Schwartz. Irene Golestanian. Mohammed Laknanur. Angel Hernandez. Chakila Akalikote Kangangami. Anas Farouk. Vashag Shabani. Nick Arnold. Ben Janusek. Omar Saravia. Chi Chung Tam. Khaled Lee. Steve Delgado. Ivan Chacon. Jeremy Galarza. Iman Daneshaman. Eric Hernandez. Aaron Scott. Hugo Daniel Rojas. Karandeep Bumrah. Ibrahim Upal. Sumanto Samantha. Emin Petros. John Pinson. Art Sintapluchayakan. Christopher Long. Ashley Vargas. Eileen Noriega. Jim Atario. Kim Knockley. Lisa Smith. Javier Martinez Dominguez. Corey Sharp. Alejandra Perez. Jaime Joseph. Jamie Joseph.
Long delay. Silverman.
Asher Silverman. Wilson Tran. Misak Zaturinen.
Delay. Thanks. How do you say your last name?
Albert Oganasian. Vahe Harapeptian.
Diaz.
William Diaz. Chris Bababians. Danae Jean. Luke Martinez. Alexander Gonzalez. Garrett Richardson. Yvonne Wynn. Robert Rodriguez. Rafael Munoz. Sorosh Zahir.
How do you say your last name?
Sepand Hormozdiar. Drew Simpson. Nikolai Eiler. Alexander Mikhailov. Osvaldo Morajo. Michael Galino.
Rodriguez Cotto.
Jose Sabi Rodriguez Cotto.
How do you say your last name?
Hofig Chagaspanyan. Ali Gohari. Inderpreet Kaur. Armin Moradian. Jenna Camacho. Jimmy Chang. Dale De Vera. Henry Zabata. Dwayne Pasqua. Kevin Chow. James Sercha. Michael Sen. Pranab Sharma. Miguel Tovar. Jacob Idolor. Schneider Aduka. Ando Fayez Tadros. Mohammed Ranin. John Munir Abashar. Harut Gregorian. Jack Bomajian. Aaron Tamazian. Areen Cachadori. Claudius Adekani. Nemsa Huvezadi. Sylvia Dan Yang Wang. Navid Ganjian. Hotsworth Joshua Postler. Raul Jimenez. Christina Sue. Altibi Kayed. David Kopp. Dale Fairclough. Justin Hanwen. Andrew Huang. Christian Bowles. Jose Ariano. David Gabriel Malina. Aria Bigoli. Benjamin Villalobos. Armand Abrahamian. Martin Vicente Navarro Jr. Cesar Garcia. Jennifer Doblin. Philip Tran. Sandra Jennifer Deming Lamus. Ernest Curoso. Jesse Pham. Gabriela Fonseca.
Fahad Alsamar. Jonathan Eric Villegas. Karina Munoz. Kai He. Yi Ma. Jinji Zhang. Adrian Karat. Jeffrey Ruby. Yiming Zhao. Yiting Si. Julian Daspalov. William Law. Anku Kashik. Chelsea McBride. Sina Trey Hisari. Oscar Marin. Dustin Patrick Delmer. Anu George Inchakal. Samil Soni. Shivan Samu Nathani. Reina Burgess. Hassan Altahu. Ali Al Muslim. Now reading the names for the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Ziad Muhammad Aliha. Rayan Fared Berry. Adel Abdulhana Al-Kanahal. Ahmed Al-Madhani. Ahmed Al-Mahanai. Abdurrahman Al-Bati. Mubarak Al-Nami,
Al-Azami. Okay.
Ali Abdullah Al-Zami, Joel Lopez, Brian Marziego,
Siwenza. Siwenza.
Rodolfo Siwenza,
Hello. Okay, and it's Robert Palmer. All right. Eric Camarillo.
Robert Palmer, Eric Camarillo,
Jorge Morales.
Jorge Morales, Oscar Tovar,
Hawatman.
Ayman Hawatme,
Jamal.
Jamail Jordan, Tadios Jonas Aline, Andrew Taft,
Cesar Gabriel Montellano Balon.
Cesar Gabriel Montellano Balon, Joshua Bolstad, Jobeth Palancio, Yasir Mahmoud Ibrahim, Peter O,
Echeverria.
Carlos Echeverria,
Eric Webb.
Eric Webb,
Okay, Rogel.
Roseanne Rohel,
Martinan.
Omar Martinen,
Macarito.
Stephanie Macarito, Wu Beck Kang,
Nolan Preston.
Nolan Preston,
Greaves.
Jackson Greaves,
Delgadillo.
Daniel Delgadillo,
Chacon.
or Chacon,
Okay, Singh. Okay, Abishai Singh.
Abhishek Singh,
Gajar. Okay, I can't.
Shaylee Gajar,
Balachandra. Okay.
Naraja Balachandra,
Obi Dala.
Mai Obidala, Brian Juarez, Jared Sam Rosenberg, Cameron David Kennedy, Jillian Villanueva,
Okay, Sandoval.
Juan Sandoval,
Top line.
Brian Reyes,
Okay. Top line.
Randy Reyes,
Okay, Izzacardi.
Thomas Zaccardi, Giovanni Lemus,
Pena Loza.
Brian Peñaloza,
Chaboya. Babale.
Jose Miguel Chaboya,
Adoriel Babale.
Adorile Babale,
Gorshin. DMR.
Alexandria Gorshapen,
DMR.
Edward Villamore,
Hernandez.
Raymond Hernandez,
Okay, CCAT.
Chris Alexander Seacat,
Comlu.
Tommy Comlu,
Tilakshi Paris.
Talakshi Paris,
Okay, top line.
Bernardo Gonzalez,
Hoshani.
Patrawat Poshana,
Win.
Andy Wynn,
Okay, your last name, Kurla Mandio.
Tuman Kurltusa, Joseph Murillo,
Sahabi.
Nima Shabi,
Sahabi. Okay, Trin.
Nima Shahabi, Sylvia Trin,
Gamble.
Gary Gamble,
Zishan Mohammed.
Zishan Mohammed,
Okay, Javid Vodin Mohammed.
Javid Uddin Mohammed,
Suja.
Mohammed Suja, Abdul Ghani, Christopher Phillips,
Okay,
Shutrita Basik,
Tasia Bandaru.
Teja Bandaru,
Prashant Para.
Prashanth Hara,
Okay, Sritej Yamala. Ahmed
Shritesh Ryamsapala,
Tahain. Abo Tahain.
Ahmed Abu Tahain,
Okay, Karami.
Mohammed Karami,
Mozafarian.
Nima Mozafarian,
Okay, say your last name.
Zepeda Tagasadeh,
Bashazada.
Hamed Bashatadeh,
Benil Isave.
Benil Isave,
Tade Ohani.
today Kalantar Ohanian,
Okay, Kalantar Ohani. Okay,
Norvik Kalantar Ohanian,
Zamil. Okay, Dabashi.
Ahmad Zamil,
Dabashi.
Amir Dabashi,
Okay, Hirpara. Sunny Hirpara.
Sunny Hirpara,
Okay, Muhammad Atasam Ali.
Mohammed Atasam Ali Siddiqui. Banu Chandra Nedahidina.
Adihala.
Joseph Adihala.
Okay. Maduretti.
Benukalan Madireddy. Rakesh Banali.
Okay. Well, okay. What's your first name? Duni?
Duni Patel.
Okay. Kaushik, say it to him.
Kushik Dangharendra Kumar.
B. Bhupal, bottom.
Pruthavi Dubupal.
Kishore Asagani.
Mohana Kishore Eshagani.
Name, honey? Last name? Jimmy, yeah. Okay.
Vankati Dinesh Jimmy.
Tithi.
Pradvi Teva Tithya.
Mahad.
Fahad Dean.
Okay. Singa Reddy. Singa Reddy.
Sujan Reddy Singareddy.
Srikant Reddy. Jana Reddy.
Sikanth Reddy Jana Reddy.
Vikas Red Chala.
Vikas Reddy Chala.
Jakula. Okay. Akil
Avinash Jakula.
Morawala. Okay.
Akil Morawala.
Gilbert Jr.
Richard Gilbert Jr.
Desai. Shak Desai.
Ashok Desai.
Say your last name? Tumalapali.
Avarin Reddy Tumalapali.
Shinjandra Shagabadi. Okay.
Shring Jadra Shagakavani.
Sanjay Gadwal.
Sanjay Gadwal.
Okay. Hatesh Jain.
Hitesh Jain.
Sai Santosh Yarasuri.
Sai Santosh Yarasuri.
Nagaraj. Okay.
Pava Nagashari.
Shekhar.
Hari Karan Shakandrashar. Sadhana Sadhu.
Mohammedan.
Abdullah Bahamadan.
Amanjan what? Amanjan. Oh, that's you said? Amanjan. That's it.
Hamanjan.
No card.
Akshashit Danarad.
Okay, say it.
Muralidhar Thakur.
Okay, hang on.
Muralidhar.
Morelli Del Akawat. Shishan.
Ramakotaswara Rasa.
Ramakataswara Rasakiri.
Singa Semeti.
Ramesh Singasameti.
Jagadish Baba.
Jagadish Boba.
Okay, Vulipe.
Siddhanth Volipe.
Okay, Sukumar Vanapali.
Sukumar Vanapali.
Okay, Krishna Chanaya.
Krishna Chanaya.
Okay, Sakare.
Sathvik Sakare.
Kumar Jeswal. Okay.
Viral Kumar Jiswal. Nakith Shigar.
Venkata Rama Nataraj Magat.
Venkatarama Natari Maganti.
Sanjay Yadav.
Sanjay Yadav.
Okay, what's up? Priyanka Raj.
Piranka Rai.
Purti Swish. Ali
Siporthi Surish.
Algatan.
Ali Algatani.
Viendra.
Vijay and Daransari Rotad.
Now reading names from the Department of Mechanical Engineering. Edward Kocharian, Muhammad Arsal Zahir, Christian Peel, Philip Andrew Landon, Brandon Heiss, Sultan Abutari, Adnan Al-Bloshoy, Mohammed Alotabi, Cassandra Matheson, Obaid Mufar Al-Busaid, Aaron Guthrie, Helen Jean Mills, Trevor Fabry, Jesse Gold, Shirley Munoz, Michelle Enich, Kevin Gutierrez, Ophir Lipsky, Justin Corson, Scott Judge, Daniel Hooper, Kevin Collier, Cobb Strothers, Andrew Robertson, Justin Hans, Eric Figueroa, Daniel Cabrera, Alan Alcacer. Benjamin French. Kendra French. Armando Gonzalez. Lucine Karapetian. Edward Soto. Peter Orzgowski. Miro Arakelian. Man Alushaimi. Anibal Martinez. Lawrence Milstein. Homer Mandap. Kevin Prado. Erica Calloway. Noah Cogswell. Noor Aliyah Hidayah Samsuri. Narek Zaraban. George Hernandez. Miguel Sanchez. Kathleen Lopez. Vanessa Gomez. Ahmad Ibrahim. Rajpreet Shah. Sivak Fagarian. Eric Nikogosian.
Say your last name.
Haimanat Wubashit. Jimmy Lee. Edgar Garcia. Richard Kim. Jack Barrientos. Carlos Nuno. Henry Calendres. Mike Prusmack. Ding Haoshe. Shenghua Dai. Corey Bryant. Christian Garcia. Christopher Marr. Ricardo Navarro. Jessica Shafsta. Ryan Fan. John Paul Lionel. Marty Veray. Alex Tormazian. Steve Martinez. Adon Morales. Sergio Giovanni Valenzuela. Mackenzie Garza. Julia Reed. Carlos Caldera. Mario Rodriguez Melendez. Ari Sugmo. Eric Berg. Ian Seekar. Alexander Cunningham Hackett. Jesse Corral. Joseph Portillo. Paul Galbillo. Cesar Dominguez. Andrew Fechner. Alfred Juan Javier. Kendall Redding. Manuel Masihi Mirzakalan. Frank Mejia. Pablo Miguel Diaz. Tyler John Keppel. Daniel Hakufu Lopez Erami. Kavya Kase. Jasmine Wong. Wendy Renaga. Eddie Rodriguez. Christopher Moore. Melvin Fuentes. Jason Farron. Abdullah Araisi Sofi. Ashkan Agzhai. Majid Mesfarouche. Michael Swaza. Othman Al-Rashid. Ali Al-Faz. Stephen Bolger. Juan Yorba. Mario Cornelio. Ronel Martinez. Sonia Ali. Joseph Sarhadian. Richard Aguilar. Yaroslav Chekin. Costa Dean George Mavrakis. Quan Nguyen. Ricky Miranda. Christopher Zendejas. Hugo Hernandez. Francisco Ignacio Legoretta. Paolo Trentini Filo. Matthew Yarlott. Devin Van Huysen. Jose Tovar. Humberto Mora. Cesar Rojas Corona. Tyler Chavez. Luis Pedro Chavez. Pedro Ramirez. Jorge Diego. Ryan Maluli. Samuel Hollis. Miguel Perez. Ivan Chavez. Jorge Macias. Daniel Doe. Ahmed Mohammed. Ali Alhoz.
Shamlan Al-Sawai, Anas Amsan Al-Salam, Muhammad Abdullah, Khalid Al-Gamas, Fawaz Mirza, Ali Alamir, Marwan Al-Sabari, Walid Al-Hinai, Farwaz Al-Fashuti, Aaron Iskanian, now reading the names for the Department of Manufacturing Systems Engineering and Management. Matthew Fields, Abdul Zarak Syed, Abdul Wahab Wakar, David Kabedi, Rachana Kari, Monica Angelina Bandy, Pratsuya Pupapeti, Anjana Muchari Haldaran, Navya Rachamala, Gutani Nak, Aditi Tripathi, Narnane Harbasumian, Ra Wahid,
Say your name for him real quick.
Ula Washiye Akumbajadi, Jinhan Wang,
Okay, top line. Thank
Jose Antonio Loya Jr.,
you.
Mahir Gulawani, Daniel Aguiar,
Mita Alpamid.
Mitab Al-Humidian, Abdul Aziz Al-Zazimi,
Alro Wished.
Abdul Rahman Al-Rushed,
Okay.
Fahad Al-Ajami,
Sultan Salem. I'll stick it.
Sultan Sendi, Ali Ahmed Al-Sigar, Abdul Rahman Al-Rashudi, Hamad Abdali,
Salem.
Mohammed Salem,
Al-Malki.
Mohammed Al-Maki, Majed Bafage, Ahmed bin Mahazam Al-Tubi, Mohamed Basmath, Ali Al-Sagaf, Suleiman Al-Farafi,
Christian D. Say your last name, nice.
Christian Denason,
Al-Harbi.
Fayez Hamad Al-Harbi,
Al-Sowedi.
Abdullah Al-Sowedi,
Saud Al-Mohandi.
Saad Al-Mohandi,
Al-Rayyan.
Muhammad Ryan,
Rayhan Abdulaziz.
Reham Abdulaziz Arab,
Sarah Barta.
Sarah Barta,
Aida Andresanian Artunian.
Ida Andresian Aretunian,
Okay.
Beatrice Wama Hilario Polo, Johnny Flores, Lucas Kellner,
Go to Shala.
Vikanta Adiath Godishala,
Prem Kumar Akula.
Shirley Prenkumar Akula,
Okay. Atala Alam.
Atala Alarmi,
Motaz Ajib.
Motaz Ajib,
Raad bin Ali. He added some more on the bottom.
Rawad bin Ali Al Magar Al Shiri,
Al-Shemi.
Osama Al Shiri,
Yaswat. Ready.
Yaswath Reddy Chitrintpu,
Krishna. Shanaya.
Sri Krishna Chitrarat Katabai,
Okay. Kamala Sala.
Ahmed Al Daswari,
Okay.
Kamala Sali,
Leia. Mandila.
Ramini Mendekwela,
Chinta Kunta.
Puja Chintequita,
Shrum. Nicole Shrum.
Nakul Shrum,
Madbani.
Kabal Magbani,
Javan Mardi.
Farzad Javad Mardi,
Okay. Somaya.
Pareen Dilip Sudamai,
Okay. Nambia.
Ishak Nambiar,
Okay. Rikish.
Rakesh Bikswar,
Here you go. Chilingarian.
Anna Chilangarian,
Ashish.
Ashish Ja,
Manush Kumar.
Manush Kumar,
Akash Razani.
Akash Rasani,
Okay. Rachanda.
Rachana Sharma,
Nilofar Kariman.
Nilufar Karimian,
Okay. Shrivastava.
Surab Shrivastava,
Mashtobi.
Rola Mashtubi,
Okay. Go to
Tigran Galustrian,
Aratimi.
Edvard Aratunian,
Okay. Ruben Cuellar.
Ruben Cuellar.
Kashishi.
Now reading the names for the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Arabo Kashishi, Yusef Aksar,
Okay. Bukalat.
Mohammed Bukalaf,
Okay. Shanada.
Julie Shanada, Zahin Khan,
Uzunian.
Ani Azunian,
Okay. Ochoa.
Jimmy Ochoa,
Okay.
Hong Tran,
Top. Low.
David Lowe,
Okay.
Luis Chavez,
Asil Raja.
Asil Rajab,
Okay. Muhammad Al-Kandari.
Mohammed Al-Kandari,
Okay. Brandon Youssef.
Bandar Youssef,
Okay. Sorry.
Fahad Jassim Benawad,
Okay. Abdul Rahman Al-Awwal.
Abdurrahman Al-Ziwaki,
Okay. Muhammad Abu Aisha. Okay. Al-Kobani.
Mohammed Abdujayashan,
Okay.
Faris
Said
Al-Bakwani,
Jasmine Mahafi.
Musa Jasmin Al-Nuhafid,
Ali Al-Tahal.
Ali Altahu,
Yes. Raulo.
Braulio Diaz,
Bada.
Yin Fong Kong,
Okay. Resendez.
Alex Resendez,
Top line.
Edwin Jokel Perez. Garrison Tran.
Zenchen.
Zenching Ye.
Okay, Wabachano.
Eduardo Wabachano.
Okay, Vadehi
Vadehi Amin.
Okay, Deshpande.
Piyush Deshmande.
Priya Patek.
Priya Pathak.
Pritam Kodam.
Pritam Kodam.
Vinayak Kadnikar.
Vinayak Kandakar. Samuel Hollis. Thomas Ruiz.
Bottom.
Tom Lee.
Nicholas A.
Nicholas Eng.
Eshkarnazi.
Earl Justin Encarnacion.
Popuri.
Shri Papuri.
Urjit.
Urjit Umin.
Okay, Shetty.
Shaila Shetty.
Vivek Shapeti.
Vivek Shapeti.
Nanpreet Singh Samra.
Nampreet Singh Samra.
Rajesh Patel.
Brajesh Patel.
3 lakh.
Trilok Dayanad.
Urprit Christian.
Urpit Christian.
Okay, Renuka Kulkarni.
Renuka Kulkarni.
Rupa Shivani.
Rupa Shabani Kalaru.
Ahila Jebi.
Ahila Jabin.
Manny Valadez.
Manny Valadez.
Okay, Basar.
Parth Basar.
Dup.
Darpan Daru.
Okay, Kashal Patel.
Kushal Patel.
Okay, Chirayu.
Chirayu Shah.
Okay, Mahir Amin.
Mahir Amin.
Vidit Shah.
Vidit Shah.
Swarja Singh.
Swarja Save.
Raj Shah.
Raj Shah.
Okay, Lotne.
Ashwani Latne.
Atik Fatin.
Gatik Fating.
Just go to the bottom. Rohan Doti.
Sagar Kanpade.
Okay, Rohan Dotahal.
Rohan Datahal.
Al Shamali.
Ali Al Shamali.
Okay, Suhum Jubala. Paraja.
Suham Jaglakpare.
Paraja. Paukar.
Keelan Paraj. Joshua Pukha Paukar.
Makram Merhom. Okay.
Makram Murhom.
Malaka. Okay.
Ronrico Malakai.
Gialu.
Christian Gialu.
Aideen Babudi.
Aideen Babudi.
Adeola Bello. Okay. Sylvan.
Adiola Bello.
Alora. Okay.
Sylvan Alora.
Fanganil. John Joseph Fanganil. Thank you.
John Joseph Fanganil.
Guerrero.
Michael Gerard Guerrero. Christian Bermudez.
Mercanian.
Ryan Harut Merkanian.
And a few more. Okay. Nawaf Al-Shami.
Now reading the names for the David Nazarian College of Business and Economics. Narwaf Al-Shami.
Al-Shamli.
Abdul Rahman Al-Shamari.
Al-Sud. Abud or Salsud? Omar Alamar.
Ahmad Al-Asud. Omar Alamar.
Now reading names from the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Lahia Zelaya. Lynette Nolbanyan. Julie Jimenez. Eddie Suraran. Casper Wong. Kevin Kosick. Alexander Tran. Ashley Ward. Chima Wachuku. Shushmeet Dillon. Osma Gomez. Bilal M. Mata. Kimberly Rose Madwani. Brenda Velasco. Reese Razzo. Celine Abartunian. Daniel Gonzalez. Sarah Turner. Adam Boder Friend, Jessica Pimentel, Matthew Ledesma, Rena Ojanes, Elisa Cambareno, Elizabeth Catherine Garcia, Jackie Manukian, Lauren Lynette Vartanian, Hafrida Hadi,
Thank you.
Sam Muddy, Christopher Dickerson, Hirsch Patel, Karen Elvo, Brendan Moran, Christian Gatti, Elmer Ayala, Yadira Reyes, Joseph S. Yoon, Marjan Ghaffari, Farnaz Barari, Leslie Fung, Janelle Awad, Heather Nguyen, Gary Leonard, Elias Alohi, Tan Lu, Huyen Lee, Pia Nichoy. Now reading names from the Department of Geological Sciences. Craig Stewart, Isaac Simon, Alicia Nygaard, Ariana Cortez, Caitlin Amadeo, Dylan Janik, Daniel Mendez, Alexander Griffin, Jafet Gomez, David Trinidad Quezada, Carlos Gomez, Parithra Kumari Naidu. Now reading names from the Department of Mathematics. Jacob King, Giovanni Granados, Robert Cholvin, Susanna Agazarian, Ali Hafid, Sandra Neftali Yepes Palmero, Poonam Nair, Mildred Martinez, Juan Pilar, Giovanni Marquez, Vincent Newberry, Eduardo Mujica, Kyle Pacheco, Neda Salim, Myra Villa, Otto Rene Gramajo, Nathan Navin, Corey Stems, Devin Moore, Arpine Nazaria, Andrea Jones, Samuel Lurie, Amanda Petty, Alexandra Altman, Armin Avatisian, Raman Tercian, Kevin Lee, Ricardo Sosa, Yelena Kachachin, Carrie Neff, Jorge Solares, Hagop Hovanesian, Taylor Cuttaquest, John Detmeyer, Karen Davidian, Amy Grandilli, Nadia Rodriguez, Giselle Tosta, Christopher Ariola, Leonardo Rojas, Manuel Sevilla. Vanessa Klotzman. Ellen Ovaratia. Jean D. Vandenberg. Now reading names from the Department of Physics and Astronomy. Ian Carroll. Intisar Ashmalri. Xavier Bowellen. Benwan Amlashi. Darnell Kelly. Eric Guzman. John Rincon. Thomas Martin. Mary Beth Albert. Mariela Chavez. Kevin Joyce. Garrett Korpinen. Earl Justin Encarnacion. Now reading names from the Department of Biology. Joshua Manning. Charlie Siebert. Ashley Rosano. Nicte Mendez. Andrea Haberkern. Carson Kellner. Danielle Amoroso. Yves Adamian. Alina Adamian. Malatia Hoover. Justin Molnar. Maria Akopian. Nikki Camisa. Zoe Scott. Kimberly Warland. Sisician Mirzakanian. Melissa Luvanos. Meto Sumampi. Rita Sophia. Juliana Avakaretian. Suzanne Kucharian. Gavork Banjarjian. Michael Karapetian. Harut Karapetian. Armin Ratunian. Miro Bedrousi. Anna Shabazian. Tara Kiyanpour. Christine Adshemsian. Tanya Gazarian. Anes Sarukanyan. Arthur Agajanian. Jasper Chang. Kachator Militanyan. Gavorg Avaganian. Daniel Perry Kellier. Chelsea Placencia. Mariam Jalili. Jennifer Quinn. Brian Mai. Alexander Underwood. Eric Fausto. Leslie Jacob Perez. Stephanie Salgado. Michelle Bonilla. Anthony Chavez. Alberto Camacho. Brian Hodosh. Alexander Michael Hannon. Martika Orozco. Zaira El Zaga. Diana Henriquez. Jocelyn Andrea Castellanos. Annabelle Carrillo. Samane Kashi. William Jackson. Alina Cow. Danny Tai. Feliana Osade. Zohal Amini. Patricia Ramirez. Nicole Okvemia. Eric Leyva. Negan Ekefahe. Robert Keshishian. Zara Tarabia. Miles Shaw. Calvin Apodaca. Danielle Samir Bichet. Adrian Garcia. Daniel Kozoriski. Nancy Salinas. Nicholas Rhodes. Arsalan Amir Ali. Sanim Khan. Robin Husefian. Alani Grog. Juliana Reyes. Opa Shani. Jason Frank Rose Wardley. Yarazel Alapisco. Eloisa Ibarra. Gabriela Ramirez. Miriam Says. Joadane Foger. Laurelyn Arnold. Caitlin Kyle. Elizabeth Haley Burns. Ian Tepper. Emily Loudon. Niall Murray. Myra Zelaya. Haiti Deharo. Zephia Bragazin. Jesus Tamayo. Daisy Hernandez. Lucera Barrias Guadalupe. Daniel Teles. Arbi Abelian. Jennifer Waldo. Nicholas Alegrado. Karina Garcia Lopez. Catherine Murillo. Stephanie Nadine Flores. Catherine Diana Guerrero. Courtney Cunningham. Daniel Calderon. Quaratulian Mi M. Kwan. Ryan Reles. Stephanie Cruz. Jessie Marie Farrar Madlangsake. Neelam Anderson Rojas. Liana Gukasian. Mariam Mayakian. Rita Harmin. Krishna Ahir. Lina Aram. Ani Bejikian. Hind El Turki. Lourdes Espinosa. Maria El Dape. Mohammed Al Dilami. Chidosi Uzar. Danny Camarena. Samuel Bataloff. Cody Smotherman. Carrie Cudahy. Richard Yan. Jasmine Leanne Hunt. Nicole Kovac. Maya Farber. Jonathan Alvarez. Jill Hilary Caballon. Jonathan Salazar. Rachel Alter. Sarah McAlloway. Andrew Lelean. Dakota Pollock. Benjamin Gomez. Veronica Ledesma Hernandez. Christina Rojas. Myrtle Robles Pena. Kevin Torres. Jennifer Salazar. Brian Tullo. Nathan Eltroth. Brendan Lafam. Alejandro Gonzalez. Miguel Liman. Nicole Tan. Jasmine Parkinson.
Andrew Huertas. Jessica Kelly Gordon. Stephen Escalante. Hella Himmat. Bianca Martinez. Fabiola Gomez. Catherine Mayaka Gajali. Brandon Castillo. Bahia Pedera, Stephanie Tatiana Castro Oriana, Alexis Vanessa Moreno, Salvador Hernandez, Gabriel Castellano, Megan Godoy, Janari Peter Buenaventura, Sean Braverman, Michelle Lay, Jonathan Lamb, Kirikos Takajian, David Carpetian, Talene Lynette Garbetian, Nathaniel Chard, Samantha Arnell, Lauren Richardson, Dominique Wilkins Martinez, Isabel Alagat, Rachel Bersamera, Nicholas Valencia, Carenza Encelord, Alyssa Zuniga, Kenneth Rocha, Dominique Zatarian, Gina Masenzo, Justin El Shamali, Stephen Oviedo, Brandon J. Wilson, Parisa Mosavian, Cherie Clark, Kashahar Moshtahedian, Salah Kim, Evelyn Sanchez, Joanna Hurtado, Ignacio Arvizu, Herman Papo, Gavin Long, Sarah Diaz, Sherazad Hormozi, Crystal Lowe, Christina Vosagian, Donnie Cherion, Sandra Madrigal, Vanessa Garcia Harage, Cindy Yak, Eliana Maria Chavez, Ingrid Biagi, Chathtu Donna, Joaquin Zuliaga, Lara Parsekian, Joseph Ponce, Eduardo Felix, Femi Ege, Minda Lee, Cedric Ahibegu, J. Angelo Mendoza Nakpil, Nathan Alexander Del Rosario, Ola Elmefedi, Matiana Unger, Brian Cole, Mohammed Raymond Shirazi, Josue Sierra, Carlos Torres, Anna Karina Udiong Santos, Lanikia Cherie Lung, Catherine Sentizo, Harvey Reyna, Momina Sadwat Kwabadi, Nahid Al-Zarmi, Sona Kachuntz, Ashken Akopian, Mary Papayan, Stephen Alo, Hurag Trump Sasenian, Arne Asenian, Tina Isagolian, Dalal Hilu, Lorenzo Del Castillo, and last but not least, Tina Ansari.
Will all of the baccalaureate degree recipients please rise? Baccalaureate degree recipients. In academic tradition, the student who has not yet earned a degree wears the tassel to the right of the mortarboard. When the degree is conferred, the scholar moves the tassel to the left and joins a select company of highly educated men and women. In recognition of your new status, will all recipients of the baccalaureate degree move your tassel to the left? I welcome you into the alumni family of California State University, Northridge. Please be seated. I know. Mr. Dan Wilt will now officially welcome you into the California State University Northridge Alumni Association.
On behalf of the CSUN Alumni Association and more than 340,000 Matadors, it's my pleasure to be the first to formally welcome you to alumni of our great university. Now each of you may add the title of alumnus or alumna to your name. We are honored to join with you as you celebrate your achievement. Today marks the beginning of an enduring relationship with CSUN. We encourage you to stay connected as you realize your dreams and aspirations. In fact, you'll find many Matadors out there like myself, ready and willing to help you realize your potential and future success. And in turn, someday, we hope that you'll help the next generation follow on your path. Congratulations and welcome to your CSUN alumni family. We are very proud of you.
Now it's simple. You just need to go out into the world, accomplish great things, and come back and tell us about them so we can brag about you. To officially close this ceremony, I ask that all of our students, faculty, and CSUN alumni rise for our university alma mater, Hail to the Matadors. Under the musical direction of Michael Mull and the Jazz A Band and sung by Christy Yoga. The alma mater is in the front of your commencement program booklet should you need to follow with the words. After the alma mater has concluded, please remain in your seats until the platform party and faculty have recessed. I ask that all of our parents and guests remain seated until the end of the professional. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you for your achievements, and congratulations to our graduates. And once a Matador, always a Matador. Thank you.